Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Russ.
And I'm Jeanelle Slade. There could be some hope for victims who say they were sexually abused by the longtime Miles City School athletic trainer decades ago.
Yeah, the law could soon be on their side if lawmakers can agree. Today, state lawmakers in Helena unveiled two bills that would remove time limits for victims seeking legal action against their abuser.
This comes on the heels of that decades-old case in Miles City. 78-year-old James Jensen faces federal charges for coercion. He's also charged with child pornography in Custer County.
However, no criminal charges have been filed against Jensen on behalf of 31 men who've come forward to say that Jensen sexually molested them when they were student athletes at Custer County High School. That's because Montana's current statute of limitations law on child sex abuse says if 20 years have passed since the victim turned 18, the perpetrator cannot be prosecuted.
Democrat State Representative Mary Ann Dunwell of Helena is sponsoring a bill that says anyone who sexually assaults or molests a child can be prosecuted at any time, no matter how long after the crime. Right now in Montana, the suit must be filed within 3 years of the abuse or within 3 years of when the victim realizes its negative effect. Dunwell is teaming up with Democrat Shane Morigeau from Missoula to sponsor two sex abuse bills.
And they also say their bills will be retroactive, meaning they can apply to past cases if they become law. Dunwell and others said it's time for Montana to take a stand for justice against child molesters.
It's not okay that a perpetrator can circle a date on a calendar, post on Facebook, "I'm off the hook," and sleep easy for the rest of his or her life. And that child victim into an adulthood is haunted for a lifetime.
Dunwell's bill will be heard. It was heard today in the House Judiciary Committee, and Morigeau's bill will be heard on Friday.
And both lawyers for the Miles City victims, John Heenan and Dan Rice, were in Helena today for the unveiling of the bills.
Just days after a downtown staple announced its doors will close after more than 30 years, the McIntyre family tells us they hope to sell the building that houses Pug Mahones.
Q2 Samantha Sullivan broke this story yesterday and now joins us with an update. Sammy.
Russ and Jeanelle, since the news came out that Pug Mahones, Guido's, and the Bookie Casino would all close their doors come Saturday night, there's been a lot of question of what would come of the building. I spoke with Kevin McIntyre. He's the brother of Bill McIntyre, also known by many as Mac, who owned the restaurants and bar. He tells me the family will now look to sell the building and the liquor license together, just as Mac wanted. He said it was his brother's hope that someone would come in and start a new place in the same location, either under the Pug Mahones name or something completely different. Again, Bill died Saturday at the age of 77. Kevin tells me the McIntyres suffered the loss of another brother just hours later. He told me Mac's funeral is set for February 1st. There will be a public reception to follow at the Knights of Columbus. Russ and Jeanelle.
All right, thank you, Sammy.
Well, tragedy in Denver last night as a young newlywed bull rider had his life cut short.
Yeah, many across the PBR circuit in mourning tonight, and some of them drawing similarities to another beloved bull rider, Lane Frost, who was killed doing what he loved back in 1989.
Sports director Scott Breen joins us now with more on how a widespread but tight-knit community is holding up. Scott.
Yeah, gang, just a horrible tragedy in a sport that hits close to home for a lot of us here in Montana, on a tour that actually comes to Billings this April. Bull rider Mason Lowe was competing on the PBR's Velocity Tour last night in Denver. We're not going to show you the ride, but here's a look at him within the last year. Last night when he was bucked off, the bull stomped on his chest. Witnesses say Lowe got up, took a couple of steps, and then collapsed. He was rushed to a Denver hospital where he died shortly after. Montana's Flint Russ Rasmussen, who you see there, spent about half his life as a barrow man between rodeo and the PBR. He sees cowboys injured a lot of different ways, but bull riding deaths are very rare.
Yeah, for me, I mean, you know, the most famous one is Lane Frost. And with the advancements in what the guys wear now, Lane Frost probably wouldn't have broken a rib with what the vests they wear now. And this past summer, Chase Outlaw had a really bad injury in Cheyenne and broke every bone in his face and lucked out, frankly. And now here he is. He's the #2 bull rider in the world wearing a real high technology helmet. I'm positive, without a shadow of a doubt, that when Cody Lambert stepped up after his good friend Lane Frost died and took a vest that because his family was in the racehorse business and put on a vest, modified it, and it became what every bull rider wears. It has saved, I can't imagine the lives it saved. So I think we're in maybe it's a lucky era, but maybe it's technology too. And the helmets they're wearing, I can't help but think that has contributed to the fact that this just doesn't happen.
According to the PBR, this is the third death while riding on tour in its 23-year history. As of a couple hours ago, they'd already raised over $80,000 to help Lowe's family. We've shared a link in our story at montanasports.com. Just a few minutes from now, Flint shares one of his favorite Mason Lowe memories with us.
All right, thanks so much, Scott.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture has announced many Farm Services Agency offices will temporarily reopen for 3 days to perform certain limited services for farmers and ranchers during the government shutdown.
Now, beginning tomorrow, January 17th, 2,500 FSA employees are to report to their offices. In addition, the FSA offices will be open Friday, January 18th and Tuesday, January 22nd. Now, during business hours, staff will be on hand to assist agricultural producers with existing farm loans and provide 1099 tax documents to borrowers by the Internal Revenue Service's deadline.
Staff will also be able to help with specific services such as processing payments, continuing expiring financing statements, and opening mail to identify priority items. In our region, service centers will be open in Ekalaka, Miles City, Glendive, Lewistown, Sidney, Glasgow, and Billings.
You can view a full list of locations across Montana on our website, ktvq.com.
Multiple vehicles are damaged after a car slammed into the parking lot at Explorers Academy, also known as Billings Head Start. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured. This all happening around 1:45 this afternoon. Billings police say a white SUV was traveling west on 6th Avenue North and a silver van was traveling north on 18th Street. The driver of the SUV told Q2 that all of a sudden she was struck by the van on her driver's side. She lost control, then before she knew, she was crashing into a chain link fence and coming to rest in the parking lot. The driver of the van told her she ran a red light. Billings police said 6 vehicles were damaged in all. No children or staff at the school were injured. The crash is still under investigation.
Well, excitement is growing here at KTVQ. With just one ticket, you will soon have a chance to win a $500,000 home here in Billings. Q2 is teaming up with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital for our 2019 St. Jude Dream Home giveaway. For just $100, you could win this 3,600 square foot, 4-bedroom, 3-bath house built by Classic Design Homes in Ironwood Estates. While at the same time, you can help provide life-saving treatment and research for children fighting catastrophic illnesses. Over the next few weeks and months, we will show you right here on Q2 how your ticket purchase is saving the lives of children all around the world, including right here in Montana. But first, during the next couple weeks, we're going to tell you about the St. Jude Dream Home giveaway and how you could win the house. And that's not all. The earlier you buy your ticket, the more chances you have to win other big prizes along the way.
Well, coming up on tonight's 5:30 News, it's a hidden treasure that has been more hidden than anything lately.
But thanks to some community help, Antelope Butte ski area is back up and running. We'll take you there.
And coming up in weather, several storms in the Pacific Ocean. We'll tell you what they do once they come on shore and what chance Montana will get some snow out of it. We'll have the details coming up.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.